Hi, sir. On the border with Pierre Poilievre, where is the line between legitimate criticism, please, and playing into Mr. Trump's hands?
Let me just say this. There is a tradition in Canada that when times are tough, when there's a moment of crisis, or when we're threatened, Canadians pull together. We step up, we go across partisan lines, and we defend Canada. It seems increasingly clear that that is not something Pierre Poilievre is able to do.
Est-ce qu'il vous a fait des suggestions?
Comment ça être tard pour un énoncé économique? On est en décembre.
Écoute, je sais que le monde veut un énoncé économique, puis je pense que c'est une question que la ministre Freeland est en train de discuter
On a fait le
à l'interne.
calcul depuis 1995. Un énoncé économique en décembre, c'est arrivé 3 fois depuis 30 ans. C'est tard, décembre, là.
Ben, c'est des temps extraordinaires. Merci.
Ça ne surprend pas.
L'énoncé économique, durant les 30 dernières années, ça a toujours été en novembre, sauf 3 fois en décembre.
Ouais. Ben, écoutez, c'est aussi assez inhabituel que le Parlement ne puisse pas avancer depuis 2 mois. Demandez ça à Pierre Poilievre, ce qu'il fait. Ça fait 2 mois qu'il bloque les travaux parlementaires. Les gens à la maison travaillent. Ils s'attendent à ce que lui aussi travaille. Oui, mais demandez. Mais lui, là, ça fait 2 mois qu'il bloque. Vous ne pensez pas que c'est grave? Les gens à la maison, ils travaillent. Lui, il ne travaille pas. C'est ça le problème. Il faut faire avancer les choses si les gens doivent travailler. C'est pour ça qu'on veut que le Parlement fonctionne. C'est pour ça qu'on a eu, quand on a lancé l'idée de réduire la TPS pendant Noël, c'était une façon aussi de donner un congé aux gens, mais on voulait relancer les débats à la Chambre des communes, comme ça doit se faire. Ça aussi, c'est rare que pendant 2 mois, on ne puisse pas travailler à la Chambre des communes. Mais là, vous avez les conservateurs qui bloquent leur propre motion depuis 2 mois. Les gens à la maison à Shawinigan, ils ne comprennent pas ça. Non, je ne dis pas que c'est juste de leur faute, mais je leur dis, s'ils laissaient les travaux parlementaires avancer, on pourrait faire des choses. Bonne journée.
Is it getting late to get a fall economic statement? We're in December. What are we waiting for?
Listen, I think what's important is we get the report out in a manner that provides sufficient information to the people who need to know, and it's going to be coming out, as far as I know, as soon as possible.
You've been finance minister. When was the last time, as a finance minister, you had an FES in December? It never happened in Ontario, rarely. And
You know,
Canada
a lot of
happened
different things are happening in Ontario these days, as you know, and I'm more concerned about that. Certainly, we have a little bit of dysfunctionality in Parliament, and I think that has a lot to do with it as well. So, but I would concern myself in ensuring that that what we put forward to help Canadians is understood, and a lot of proposals, a lot of initiatives are being taken by the government. Oftentimes, the opposition isn't abiding by it. They're not necessarily.
You don't find it, it's late. You don't find it, it's getting late now.
I think what is unfortunate as too much over this past session has been delayed, and we need to work more collectively with all levels of
We can
government.
do it outside the House, so that's
I understand, but I think it's important for us to do it in the House. Thank you.
So you want it done in the House?
Have a good day.
Est-ce qu'on est en retard pour un énoncé économique décembre? C'est du tard un peu, là?
Écoute, c'est une très bonne question. Je trouve que oui, mais bon, on va voir ce qui va se passer. C'est les conservateurs qui paralysent le gouvernement en ce moment.
Ils peuvent faire ça à l'extérieur de la Chambre. Mais nous, on a fait le calcul. Depuis 1995, au fédéral, il y a eu des énoncés économiques en décembre 3 fois en 30 ans.
OK.
À part de ça, c'est toujours plus tôt. Mais tard.
Oui, on est tard.
Fait que qu'est-ce qu'on dit? C'est pourquoi on est tard? C'est juste la paralysie? Qu'est-ce qui fait qu'on est tard?
C'est les conservateurs en ce moment. Et les libéraux qui laissent faire ça depuis 1 mois et demi. Moi, j'en reviens pas de ce qui se passe en haut. Là. Ce qui se passe en haut, c'est qu'on dépense l'argent des contribuables pour faire aucune mesure. On a voté un projet de loi depuis le début de la session parlementaire. Un projet de loi. Et ça, c'est la faute des conservateurs et des libéraux qui mettent pas fin à ça, alors qu'il y aurait eu le pouvoir de le faire. Si nous, on avait des demandes précises pour collaborer avec eux, pour mettre fin à ça, ils n'ont pas répondu à aucune de nos demandes. Gestion de l'offre, équité pour les aînés, ça n'a pas été répondu. S'ils travaillaient avec nous, on pourrait parler, mais pour le moment, tout est paralysé.
I wanted to get your reaction to me, sorry.
Sure.
He's the Minister for Pacific, the Economic Development Corporation. Do you see a conflict here?
Look, it's absolutely unacceptable that a minister of the Crown is accepting free concert tickets, but it's not surprising when you have one of Justin Trudeau's Liberal cabinet ministers. This is a ethically bankrupt government with a prime minister found guilty of breaking ethics laws himself multiple times. That this minister is going to find himself in box seats that fetch over $10,000 on the secondary market, that he's taking these free tickets so that he can rub elbows with influential people when, frankly, he should just be buying his own tickets when Canadians are paying him about $300,000 a year.
And what do you think of the Ethics Commissioner's reasoning saying that payment reflecting the approximate market value of the tickets has been made in recognition of the tickets extended by PAVCO? They're not considered a gift or other advantage that requires public disclosure. The minister should be buying his own tickets. The tickets were given to him for free, and the minister has said that out of some great act of charity that he's going to give $1,500 to a food bank. Look, the minister, if he wants to give to charity, that's a wonderful thing, but he should do that because it's the right thing to do, not to get himself out of some kind of ethical conundrum that he's created for himself, again, by accepting a gift that any other Canadian would have had to pay thousands and thousands of dollars for, and he's only receiving that gift because of who he is and his access to the Prime Minister and as a federal cabinet minister. It's absolutely inappropriate. And PAVCO, the people who gave him the tickets, got $116 million to help with the World Cup from the Pacific Economic Development. Do you think there's a conflict here?
Well, look, when you have the decision makers who are rewarding this, this organization, who are then replying in kind by giving concert tickets that you had to enter a literal lottery just to be able to purchase them, and then on the secondary market cost in excess of $10,000 for box seats. It's absolutely inappropriate for the minister to accept a free gift from an organization that his department, his government is, of course, granting tax dollars to. Again, if the minister wanted to see this concert so badly, he should have paid from his $300,000 a year salary to go see it and not accept a freebie in exchange for whatever has been offered.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bonjour, merci tout le monde. Je suis ici avec le député de Kitchener Centre, Mike Morris. Just want to say that we're getting towards the Christmas, December into January recess. It looks like, unlike other years, we're not likely to adjourn earlier than December 17th. So the question on our minds as Greens is what can we actually get done for Canadians between now and when we rise for our constituency work until the end of January. One thing I think we can do, and each MP has control of their own actions, their own words, and the hostility or love they generate to those around them, to change the tone here so that when we come back, we're more open to collaborative work, to get bills passed, to get the work done that we're elected to do. So we're committed to doing that in the time that remains. I'm hoping to see progress on a number of bills even before we rise next week. So with that thought, open to questions.
What chance do you think there is that the tone is going to improve come the new year?
Je pense que toujours je reste avec l'espoir. I always hope for better. I've been talking to a number of my colleagues. My SO31 was focused on kindness. That may not matter much, but there was an SO31 last week on kindness from Glenn Motz from Medicine Hat. And I think individual members of Parliament see the desperate need to turn down the temperature, and that gives me hope that we can actually improve the tone.
And so just on the GSP, when you were in the House, you were saying it was going to make you queasy in voting for it. We're now having this conversation about what's happening with the benefit checks. Is, as it's proposed, something the Green Party supports, or are you also pushing to see it expanded?
We were the first party that noticed that the benefit checks of $250 per person were not going to be provided to seniors or people with disabilities. So we were the first to blow the whistle on that. Let's see what the government proposes. A $250 check, which is distributed to people most in need, is something we would get behind.
And so you've been on the Hill quite a long time. We're now waiting for this fall economic statement. It's getting close to into December. In your experience, should the Finance Minister have presented this update by now?
Looking at changing climatic conditions, fall doesn't always occur where it used to, neither does spring. So it appears that climate change has also budged the seasons on a fall economic statement. We shall see. We need it in the context of preparing for a spring budget. There is legislation usually attached to a fall economic statement, which means a lot about the climate needs to shift. I wait in hope for a fall economic statement, even if it comes in February.
Mais Madame, quand même, l'hiver arrive le 20 décembre. Est-ce que vous l'espérez avant, là?
Oui, je reste sur l'espoir. Actuellement, c'est le temps que c'est trop tard pour le ministre des Finances de présenter le rapport de l'automne, évidemment. Mais je pense que elle va le présenter à l'avenir avec l'espoir que nous sommes disponibles pour les changements dans les projets de loi. Et pour ça, on doit avoir un change dans notre... Maintenant, nous sommes dans une situation de paralysie. Je pense que nous sommes presque paralysés. Et je pense qu'avec la pause pour les temps de fête et un peu dans le commencement, le début de 2025. J'espère que nous avons le temps pour un changement de notre système ici, pas le système, mais notre effort collaboratif pour présenter les projets de loi, pour travailler pour le passage des projets de loi. Et c'est pour ça que c'est nécessaire pour le ministre des Finances d'avoir le changement dans le rapport d'automne.
How concerned would you be if the deficit was more than $40 billion, as Chrystia Freeland said she was going to try to keep it to?
Well, in terms of debt and deficit, it's also a question of where is our revenue coming. Those figures can be adjusted if they were to follow some Green Party prescriptions, such as taxing excess profits of the oil and gas sector, excess profits of the large grocery chains. That would affect our spending. That if we bring in more revenue, that helps us offset deficit. I would like to see us bring in the revenue to cover the costs, particularly of giveaways like a $1.6 billion GST holiday rebate. As I said, when I voted for that bill, I would be more comfortable if I saw where the revenue was going to be derived to cover that, and of course the $250 check offer if that comes back to us.
The deficit is more than $40 billion.
I think that we have to look at debt. Mike wants to come to this
Elizabeth
too.
has answered the question. As Greens, we're going to continue to propose solutions and the revenue tools to pay for them. And so we're not just hoping for a fall economic statement. We've presented solutions to the finance minister, and each of those solutions came with, as Elizabeth spoke of, a windfall profit tax on oil and gas would generate $4.2 billion a year. When it comes to our proposal to remove HST from Habitat for Humanity, to allow for more affordable homes to be built, that could be paid for if the REITs paid their taxes as opposed to raising rents and kicking people out across the country.
That's not in there. The deficit is more than $40 billion. Will you be alarmed?
As Greens, we're going to propose solutions that have revenue attached, and when they don't have revenue attached, we're going to criticize that.
On the protests we saw at Confederation Building yesterday, we saw a heightened level of security after, I guess, the confrontation, against Jagmeet Singh earlier this fall. Do you think this is something that we're going to have to look into as these protests from either side ratchet up, or?
I've written to the people who organize the Independent Jewish Voices protest and said, I wish you'd talk to me first. We need to talk to security officers here on Parliament Hill in advance. I think that such as efforts of Independent Jewish Voices, a lot of MPs would have joined them if we'd been able to know there was a safe space, that people on the security division, and I have to say our Parliamentary Protective Service officers are so fantastic. I have no criticism of them at all, but we need to be able to say, important civil society voices need to be heard. The right to civil disobedience even needs to be respected. But we could work better in advance to avoid the shutdown of various passageways that everybody uses, pedestrian passageways, rights of enter and access, and a lot of constituents and stakeholder groups were backed up forever trying to get through security. I think it's avoidable with advanced planning. Thank you.